Oh yeah, we'll get something there.
Yeah, so we'll figure it out.
Okay, we are live. There's a couple people in here already. We're going to let people join in. We are with Noelle from Srixon. I mean, I don't know who to say you're from. I really struggled with that on social media. Is it from Srixon? Is it from XXIO? Is it all three? How would you describe?
I guess we're technically four now: Srixon, Cleveland, XXIO, and ASICS.
Yes.
So, you know,
I wore ASICS yesterday for my practice putting in the house.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
You like them?
I do. I said to a friend of mine, this is going to sound terrible, but I always give honest feedback. I kind of wish they looked better, but they're so freaking comfortable. It doesn't matter. They're the only, I've reached for two shoes recently, yours and another brand, and both of them are not the most attractive shoes. Yours are actually better of the two, and both of them are crazy comfortable. So that's kind of all I reach for.
Right.
Everybody's saying hi to Noelle. Before we even get started, you have to kind of walk everybody through the big ceremony that most of these people watched the other day.
Yeah, it was amazing. Obviously, with the whole, coronavirus, this is not what we originally had planned. We were planning a huge wedding, or about 200 people, and yeah, it was going to be at a beautiful private country club. And I know, cliche, getting married at a country club, but I had never wanted to, though. I wanted to honestly get married in a vineyard. I love wine, so. But we're going to get married there.
That'll come in handy at about 12 years.
Yeah.
Sorry, Morgan.
But about 2 weeks before, we had to cancel and made that decision to completely cancel our wedding. But we still wanted to get married. The date's very special to us. It's exactly our 5-year anniversary. So we decided just to have a super small, intimate wedding in the backyard. And everyone was super bummed that they couldn't be a part of it. And I had many requests to actually do it on Instagram Live. And I was like, you know what? Why not? Why
That's
not?
Cool.
So it was really good. It was a perfect day, as well as it could have been. And I think like 500 people have viewed in that day or something like that. I wasn't able to see all the comments, but I heard it went really well.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. It was cool to see a lot of our community in there throwing hearts up and stuff like that. And, I made the comment that I don't know if it was modern or creepy. Somewhere probably in the middle, but I don't mean creepy in like a really negative. I don't know how else to say creepy, but it was, you felt like a voyeur.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, it's a friend getting married and you can't be there. I feel like if I had a friend getting married and I couldn't be there, I'd want to see it. So it was very cool.
It was so cool. And I had gotten so many comments and DMs, days leading up to it. And it was just so heartfelt and so warming that I loved it. I feel like, the THP members are my family. I've been with you guys now for, no, don't say that. I'm
just kidding.
You guys are amazing. You guys are like family. And I love
Speaking
being a part
of creepy.
Of all this. You stole the bouquet.
Yeah, I did not. But the fact that Adam wants it is a little weird.
No, I'm saving mine. I'm gonna do something with it. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but that. So and what's funny, a funny story about that though, because everything's closed here in California. My florist literally picked my bouquet and my backdrop from her neighbor's gardens and from a park.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
So we're going to take a couple of questions now. Then I got a couple of questions that I need to ask you, and then we'll come back to more questions. So I'm going to splash some on the screen.
Who is my favorite tour player to work with? Oh, I always get this question, and it's so hard to answer they're all fantastic. I love every single one of them. They're great. Graham's great. I've really
gotten one of them.
Yes, every one of them. They're all special in their own way. Graham's fantastic. Shane's great. I've gotten to know him a lot more recently. I was just in Florida about a month ago, I think. Got to spend a few days with him there. And all of them, Keegan, Andrew Putnam, Russell Knox, they're all so great. We're all close, actually. They all reached out to me too during this whole wedding chaos and sent their well wishes. So yeah, it was really cool and really special. So it's hard. I can't pick a favorite. They're all great.
Another question for you. It's an equipment question, but I think you'll like this one.
How can you improve on the Z Forged line of irons? Those have been a hit and people look forward to each version. It's hard. You can't, you do ever so slightly, but a blade iron is a blade iron. At the end of the day, where all the OEMs are somewhat similar in it. I'm biased. I think ours looks the best, simple, clean. But that's
now,
also.
What would you do if all your brands had a blade iron? Would that be like picking a favorite child?
Yeah, that'd be hard. But see, that's what's unique about us is we have, so many different brands and they're all in their own.
There is a separation.
Totally. We want to make sure we keep it that way too. This
is a good question from Nick.
I love my RTX4 wedges and I'm looking to get a fresh set.
Should get a fresh set.
All I can say, Nick, is remember that we typically have a 2-year life cycle. So if the RTX4 wedges came out, what we are in 2020. So if they came out in fall of 2018, you would think something might come fall of 2020.
Interesting. Here's a question from one of your favorites.
Oh, hello.
Speaking of degenerates.
We need to go to Vegas soon.
Before we go on, for the people who are following this who don't know this name, Dax Jeter, he's a THP forum member, and he was at our Vegas event we did with Srixon a few years ago. And the reason I said degenerate is he literally filmed himself losing money at that horse racing game in a casino.
That's right.
And blamed that it was fixed. Of course it is. But anyway, you can answer his question now.
He noticed the price drop on the drivers and woods. His price strategy for Srixon going to stay the same next cycle. $499 price point for the next driver. That's a good question. We typically like to stay around the same price point as our previous generations. Depending on the technology, we may bump it up a little bit, but it'll always stay in that range at least.
I like this question a lot because it does change so fast and you're an expert at it.
Yeah. How do I keep up with the different platforms and what's going to be hot next? It's honestly an every day, every minute thing. I'm on my phone 24/7. If some of your members, have noticed that I try and write back as quickly as possible, but not only just for my platform, for obviously Srixon, it's just staying up to date and staying in the know, and having those connections also with other media partners and tour players. So I do kind of get that, off the record or behind the scenes kind of content that when it's okay, I'll release that as quickly as possible.
I like this one too.
XXIO X irons are beautiful. You have some with you there? Look at that.
Well, no, because so I know a lot of people at Cleveland Srixon, but for some reason I only got a single iron. Who do I have to talk to about that? No,
you just know. I gave you 3. Didn't I always?
Yeah, I know, but it is you got to do what you got to do.
Sorry, but you don't need a full set of testing clubs.
That's debatable. Speaking of XXIO, I wanted to talk a little bit about that brand because it has evolved a little bit. Without going down the technical rabbit hole, how does the person who's on the front line doing the communication side of it, how do you brand that with other brands? How does it fit? Srixon's always been that geared towards the player, tech player kind of club, or at least how I viewed it. Now you have these, and I'm sure people can see those on the screen. I wouldn't say they fit the same model, but you're getting close to that 585 in size, although significantly just gorgeous in every way, feels amazing. If you guys have not tried these, when you get around to go into a Club Champion or a store, you need to. They're that good, as James has alluded to in the previous question. But how do you make that messaging work?
We changed it up this year a lot. I don't know if many people have seen, but we went in the full kind of experience experience the easier distance, experience XXIO as a whole. So we really ramped up our marketing assets this year. We've got a lot of commercials out there on Golf Channel and network TV as well. And it's more of the feel and brand overall. It is a higher ended price club, though, at the end of the day. I'm not going to disagree with that. It is. But for someone who just wants to go out there and enjoy golf, and the big thing that we're also trying to market this year is the wellness of it and how lightweight and easy the clubs are to swing.
They are easy to swing.
And I've gotten so many testimonials about golfers who are playing with this product who can play multiple rounds a week, when typically from a regular, a normal OEM.
I'm old. I don't know if I can do
that. Or even like Srixon products, like you can't continue to play consecutive rounds because the swing weight is completely different. So, we're really, really trying to ramp up this year with the wellness side of it. And then also trying to gear towards players who want more of that desired player-like look. And we've seen a lot of success in that with the X irons.
So this is a really interesting question from Mike here, because I was literally just talking about that this morning to somebody.
Yeah,
and I'm curious your take, because I could legitimately see it not taking place next year.
I would have to agree with you. I think the world has taken a financial hit, especially the golf industry. Yeah. Srixon, Cleveland, XXIO, ASICs are very fortunate enough to still kind of be on top and of our game, at least as far as the financial aspect. We're owned obviously by SRI, Sumitomo Rubbers and Dunlop. We also do tennis. So we've got a lot of brands under our belt, and we're doing good. We're still shipping out products, stock product right now. We're very, very fortunate, and I've heard, through the grapevine, some other OEMs are struggling, and it's horrible. You never want to hear that, even though we're competitors at the end of the day, we're all family. It's heartbreaking to see that. So
everybody's got that weird uncle. It's true.
Yeah. So I hope we have a PGA show, but as of right now, it's not looking too good.
This is a really interesting question that I'd never really thought about, but I can see it.
A biased and full review for all. Are you
biased? Do you have a favorite of the brands?
Yeah, I would say so.
What is it?
Srixon.
Really?
Yeah.
But you're a Cleveland wedge person, like through and through. I would have swore it was going to be Cleveland.
No, yeah. I love the ball. The ball's amazing. If I was playing professionally, I would 100% play the Srixon ball.
So, interesting story, speaking of her wedges. I'm doing an event with Noelle, and everybody gets a full bag of clubs, and this is amazing. We bring a bunch of people out there. They get a full bag of clubs. They're playing alongside you and somebody who decided to leave, whatever that's all about. He's ghosted. But I look in your bag, and you're playing wedges that are like not the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
You have some poor prototypes. What's up with that? Who do I have to go to get those?
I got the connections, So I try the latest and greatest, and I may have some product in my bag right now that may or may not be coming out later this year. So I gotta test it out, make sure it works. I also gotta test it out, and then I can be able to talk about it.
That's true. Speaking of messaging, there's a really interesting one that I actually have always wanted to ask you, and it never slips around because we end up talking about food and everything else. From Dax again. How hard, Slippery's material makes a lot of sense, but in a serious manner, how hard was that to message? Because it's just a tough term.
Extremely hard. I will give major credit to our copywriters and trying to figure out the right way to message that. But trust me, when I first heard what the name was going to be, my jaw dropped. There's no way around it. So
this is a fun question from Dean, because you guys did sign Mark Crossfield, and he's done a lot of stuff with you. But how's it been working with him?
Love him. He's great. He's hilarious. I got to know him really well recently. We did a shoot with him and Jamie Sadlowski actually in Arizona, and got to spend the full day with him. And he's just so funny and witty. It's hilarious. So it's been great. He's been great for the brands. Absolutely love having him on board. And definitely Zach was extremely jealous.
Another question for you.
How has the reception been to the new full face wedges? Any possibility that the finish will be coming? Yeah. So the full face wedge has done really well for us. Obviously, TaylorMade came out with a high toe, and we saw, we actually were right in the middle of doing that as well on our end, which, a lot of golfers don't know, how early we're brainstorming.
Definitely.
Product ourselves. So it also is a little bummer sometimes. It's funny and interesting when we first get the word of, a so-and-so OEM is coming out, and it's like, dang, like we've got that, back in R&D, like waiting to come out, but not for another 6 months. So it's funny back and forth.
It's not like you can just jump in and jump the gun and move it up to the next day. It doesn't work that way.
Right, exactly. So when we knew they were coming out with it, we obviously saw the success in that. So we're like, okay, well, it's going to be the same for us. So, and it's been great. Our tour players have actually taken a like to it too. I don't think anyone currently has anything in their bag of that sort, but they definitely were testing it, before the shutdown.
This is a good one.
Great question.
I loved that video. The first one I thought was absolutely hysterical. It was.
For
those that don't know Jamie, it's literally his personality.
Oh, it's exactly him.
He's going to be that grumpy old man. He's going to be angry, and he's still going to hit it far.
For sure. So I definitely vote that there needs to be a 3. So, maybe there's something we can like go around with this whole coronavirus and do something where he stays at home and does the whole grandpa stuff. We'll see.
So speaking of that, I wanted to ask with your tour players and no tour existing and no content existing, how does that work? Do contracts get extended? I know Jamie's a different type of player because he's under contract just like any other tour player would be, but he's not actually on the regular tour, but he's as well known as anybody out there. How does that work? Is he still going to be under contract? I don't know the details of his contract. I think they're through this year, but how would that work for your position?
As far as from a content standpoint, or?
Yeah, I mean, are the contracts still going to be up at the end of the year like they normally would, even though we have a lack of tour?
Yeah. So all the guys are in a different array of year-end cycles. So just kind of, our tour works really hard, like around July, August, when we know contracts are up. And then we'll just start working with them, and hopefully we can maintain that relationship. So it'll definitely change and have to be adjusted a little bit this year due to, obviously no one playing. But on the plus side, it gives us this opportunity to create content with them from home, which has been really nice. I actually have been talking with them more and more lately.
That's true.
So, there's other ways to then still participate in your contract without necessarily playing.
Yeah, and you can make appearance days by doing video things, by doing things at home. Yeah, that's very true.
Right. So we've got the Ask Team Srixon right now going on Instagram. Just did Keegan Bradley. So within the next couple of days, I'll publish that video.
Oh, cool. Here's a good question from Obed here.
It's a good time to get tour players to tweak bags and test product. Definitely. And unfortunately, we're in a different situation where a lot of the tour players don't even have access to golf courses right now. So, but we were right in the middle of testing before everything went south. So probably starting around the Genesis Open at Riviera, when we kind of did the West Coast swing, is when we really started to ramp up our quote unquote testing for new product coming out. So that obviously has stopped a little bit, but it's not going to change, when we still launch product.
Other things might, but that won't.
Yeah.
What I mean is, nobody really knows how this is going to shake out, and I hate to hear, and I get this question a lot from about every company. When's the next product coming out? I think the best case scenario is, hey, let's hold on and see how we shake this thing out.
Exactly. How do you get started in golf marketing business or get started at Srixon Cleveland? Well, obviously I've been playing golf my entire life, and I think every job since I graduated college, I've been in golf.
And I should say you beat Zach at the THP event, and since he doesn't work there to dispute that, we're going to run with that fact.
That's right. Beat him. I beat Jamie Sadlowski at Topgolf.
That's fact, actually.
And I only play twice a year, maybe.
Twice a year. It's pretty good.
Never practice. So I forgot, what was that question?
How did you get started at Cleveland Srixon?
I actually will be here for 5 years this month. So it's been a lot of fun. And to get my foot in the door, I actually started in the customer service department. And I was there for about 6 months, and probably 3 months into that, I would walk upstairs to marketing and knock on their door and say, hey, this is where I want to be. So hire me.
So I have a funny story about that I'm not sure I've ever shared with Noelle.
Mm-mm.
So during that time, there was a different regime, I'll call it, in place in marketing. And we've always been friendly with the whole crew there. And I'm sitting there, and at the time, one regime was kind of on its way out, and the other team, and there was a gentleman there that I won't say his name, that was, I'll just call him socially awkward. He was a nice guy. He was just socially awkward. And he said, she's after my job and I can't let her have it because she's a better writer than I am. True story.
Really?
Yes.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. There will be some who are following this who know who I'm talking about, and I don't mean to out anybody, so I'm not going to do that because he was fine, but socially awkward. Here's a quick question for you.
Yes, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, we don't talk about too much pre-release stuff, but that was a good one. And based on timeline, I think everybody would kind of know that.
Everyone just remember, 2-year life cycle.
Canadians talking to Golf Unfiltered, so I just figured I'd splash that on the screen so you could see that they're chatting. And
so they're just having their own community.
Yeah, they're having a conversation over here in the comments. Okay. And Golf Unfiltered did say that Jamie was dead to him because he insulted him at the PGA show. But I mean, to be fair, we all did, because Adam was just sitting in a chair looking miserable because he drank too much.
He did look pretty miserable. Yeah, that was and I hung in there like a champ because it was demo day and it was like 40 degrees and I was still cold and I had my beanie inside the pit the entire time, but I hung in there.
Yeah, so to tell people what happened that night is myself, Golf Unfiltered, Canada, and Noelle, and Jamie Sadlowski were all in what we call the pit, which is a local bar in the hotel, the main lobby bar.
Yeah.
And we're just having drinks, and Jamie's been known to just kind of make you drink. I mean, it's that Canadian in him, maybe. Uh-huh. And so I was doing my normal thing. I'm going slow, and Adam had a lot to drink the night before. So they were trying to convince Adam to have a drink to feel better, and he wouldn't.
I wanted him to take a shot of Patron with me.
Yes, and he eventually drank something and he felt fine, but to say he was pleasant or unpleasant for the first hour of that conversation would be an understatement. Sorry, Adam, we still love you.
He was very quiet, but we understood. But then we pressured him later to get over it.
Yes. Let us know he has no regrets now. Here's an interesting question, because I wanted, and I'm putting this up on the screen, but it's really more about asking you specifically. Fairway woods and hybrids in general are a very hard market to get into for two reasons. One, the audience may not know, people don't replace them very much. And when they do, a lot of times the hybrids they replace with whatever irons they're playing, they kind of match it up, and the fairway woods with whatever driver. They don't kind of go through the fitting and check everything out. So as a brand who had probably a little more success with the 785 and 585 than in years past, how do you then double down on that with Cleveland with just a completely different segment and then throw in more woods and hybrids? It'd be really difficult, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as most people know, we did take away woods and irons for the Cleveland category, 5 years ago? And we went maybe 5 or 6 years without woods and irons.
That was after Cleveland Classic XL.
XL, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we thought, maybe let's just dedicate ourselves to what we know best. Because at the end of the day, too, we are competing with other OEMs, but why are we going to dedicate our time and our people to make a product and try and beat them? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, we kind of know our area of expertise. We're killer with the wedges, and we're always going to be a part of that. And there's been so much success with Cleveland wedges forever. But we did see an area for game improvement players that most OEMs don't do. So that's why it's super unique for the Cleveland, especially wedges. We've got the RTX4, which is for tour players, and scratch golfers. And then we have the CBX2 line for, your average, everyday kind of player. Anyone who plays a cavity back iron should be playing these wedges. And then we have the super game improvement of the Smart Soul line. So, someone who's an 18 plus handicap who just wants to have fun out there and just get the ball up in the air. So that's where we drive ourselves in that category for Cleveland golf. And then we did go the same route for woods and irons, the past 4 years, that we're not making product for tour players. We have that line, which is Srixon, but now we're making product for the general golf community. And then we're just going to drive ourselves through that success.
Interesting note on that, the not for tour players thing, is Jamie Sedlowski told me that the driver he's currently playing is the first one he hasn't shattered in years.
Yep.
Years. Yep. So that says a lot. This is an interesting question only because we have some content in the can that we're not airing yet because it's long form and people aren't out there playing and everything. But in a recent testing we did with Dan and James and some other people at Club Champion, these were so heavily praised. Mm-hmm. Do you think the public has gotten that same reception? And if not, is it because that Cleveland is thought of as this game improvement-y? Is that a real word? Probably not.
Yeah.
Kind of brand, and if they're a player, they're kind of shying away from it because you're talking about a loaded club with tech, right. Hollow body in the lower, easy to raise, goes far, forgiving, but you can still move the ball, and at a price point that's arguably as good as most direct-to-consumer brands.
Right, exactly. I think it definitely has not gotten the praise it deserves for points that you just said, that golfers won't look at a club if it's not in the price point that a major OEM is putting it at. Why on earth would we charge X amount of dollars when it doesn't need to be, and that's, I guess, what's frustrating at times too. Same thing with the Srixon golf ball. Don't just play the golf ball because it's not the price point that Pro V1 or TP5, whatever is at. It's just as good, if not better, and at a fantastic price point. Why wouldn't you play it? I feel like a lot of golfers play specific product just because their favorite tour player is playing it. But
I know I've always played the same thing that JB Holmes plays.
That isn't the case, though. Like, you shouldn't, just because we price pointed at somewhere that it should be, doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a second look at it. People, we need to change the way we think about golf product and the prices. And just because we do categorize it as game improvement, don't look at that as a negative. Look at it as, okay, well, let me find something that's actually going to help me and improve my game, and so I can actually enjoy golf more too. Why would you play?
Enhancement bring in more confusion, or would it bring in more people to pay attention to it?
It probably would bring people more to pay attention to it.
It does have a little blue pill kind of connotation.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Cleveland golf still has a ton of impressive technology, but maybe because, I don't know, we don't have, I don't know. That's tough. I always am very, very interested on why people don't just give Cleveland golf the opportunity. I think once we give you that opportunity and you just try out the product, you're gonna be thoroughly impressed.
I thought this one was kind of interesting because in some ways you could say it's right. In other ways, it's hard to call the Z-Star ball underrated only because I don't think people realize how many golf balls you're selling right now.
Right. Right.
You know, you bounce around between that third and fourth. The third through fifth spot in golf ball market share, guys, is extremely contested.
Yeah.
There's 3 brands that are all right there, and they all are doing well. I think it's going to be a 5-horse race when this is over or in the coming years, and I think that'll be very interesting because I think there's some really, really good golf products, and Dex is right. The Z-Star is really good. The Z-Star XV is incredibly good. And the Q-Star Tour, it's kind of hard to argue that it's the best price in golf because you see people constantly say, well, I play this brand because I can get it at $31.99. It's direct to consumer. You can't buy it in stores. You can go to the store and buy this one and it's cheaper.
Right.
We're the same price now, right? Same price?
Yeah. 32. Yeah. But, and also like every single type of golf ball that our tour players play, you yourself can go right now and purchase that same exact golf ball.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yes.
One of the questions that I get a lot about golf balls, and I'm not going to head down a big tech rabbit hole, is every brand has the regular ball and the X ball. But for some reason, they don't match up across the industry. You know, some X balls are the higher launching and higher spinning, and usually that comes from a higher compression. Yours is a little different. Your XV is a higher compression, but it's the lower launching and lower spinning ball, not by much. Mm-hmm. But it's a really interesting thing, and I think that's something I'm going to dive in with our audience and kind of explain a little bit how you guys do the golf balls a little differently, because your golf ball technology is pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got CERN.
It's got CERN.
So last tech question I'm going to bring with you is on the Cleveland Wedges, because going back when we've worked together a long time, RTX3 was not your favorite product.
Yeah.
You thought it was a good product, just not your personal favorite. Right. RTX4 you love.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I say that the greatest irons ever made are CG15s.
So good.
What, without going into details on future product, would you say we see an evolution of the RTX4 line, or would you say we see a revolution to something extremely different?
In between both.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Jumping back to a more positive thing, you just got married and you can't leave the house.
Nope.
What can people do to brighten up your day other than just go buy a bunch of Cleveland Srixon stuff? To help you make it through the days on social media, how can they find you? What are you chatting about? How can they find your content and so on?
Yeah, I mean, just continue to follow us and support us, and don't be afraid to tag us in things, whether it's Srixon Cleveland or XXIO. We're really taking the stride, during this time to push out as much content as possible. So if you have something fun and interesting or unique that you want to share, or a really cool photo, if anyone happens to still have their golf courses open, like, send us a cool photo of the golf ball or your bag, and we'll share it.
You want to be the engaging company.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So anything like that, and ask questions during the Ask Team Srixon, Q&A series we're doing, or feel free to ask me anything. I mean, there's nothing that I really won't answer, otherwise, if not, I'll just do this emoji.
Don't open that up. There's going to be some creepy ones.
It's fine. I will answer.
So a couple of questions that are non-golf related. Before the PGA show, people who are following don't realize Noelle and I were doing the same diet. Hers for different reasons. I was not trying to fit into a wedding dress. But what was the one food you missed more than anything?
Ooh.
We were not eating a lot of carbs for those following along.
Yeah, I was like, just anything that's carb related. French fries. I love French fries.
Yeah, French. You eat In-N-Out. In-N-Out's garbage.
I love In-N-Out.
Terrible.
So good. So good.
What flavor were the wedding cupcakes?
We had Nutella a new
that's
like
good.
chocolate Nutella, and then we had a lemon, like a vanilla lemon, and then our wedding cake was funfetti.
Wow. I got no package from this. I feel like I should have gotten these FedEx though. What is your favorite product to talk about, including brand, on social? Because I don't think people realize you don't do all the social for all the accounts anymore, correct?
Not anymore. No.
Right.
I just do Srixon now. So then we have someone
so that
else
answers
who
the
does.
question. Talk to Srixon people. Don't worry about those Cleveland and XXIO.
I still care about all brands because at the end of the day too, my my other main role is PR. So I have all of those brands. I'm the only one who does PR. So I love the irons. I can't get enough of our Srixon irons. They're beautiful to look at. They're one of the most engaging comments and posts and likes that I get every time I post something on Srixon. Night and day, there's no difference between the crush of fun cake. I love the Srixon irons. I think they're amazing. They're right there with every other, OEM, if not better. They're just beautiful to look at, simple, clean, great technology. I mean, how could you not love a VT
And
Soul
also priced well.
And priced extremely well. So I think people need to look at that. As if I meet you in person, I'm not going to explain the product to you. I'm just going to have you hit it and let the product speak for itself.
Plus, then you don't have to talk to people. That's a win.
Exactly.
What is the one thing that you're learning about working from home?
Well, we're able to still communicate very well as far as the Marcom, marketing communications team and marketing in general, a lot more Zoom calls and meetings. I probably have learned that half of the meetings that I do have during the week we don't need to have them. We can have a simple phone call or, an email instead of sitting in a room for 30 minutes to an hour. As far as the work side, yeah. And then as far as the home personal side, just try and stay positive and not get
you can't fight yet. You've only been married for like 2 days.
I know. But hey, it's a long time with your significant other in a tiny apartment.
Question from Golf Unfiltered.
I drank a beer at 9 a.m. When is it different? Right now, I think any time is fine. We're quarantined. We can't do anything. So I'm right there with you, buddy.
So the last question I'm going to ask is, do you find when you get to the office, you're going to have that mountain of work waiting for you? Or do you find you're able to stay on top of it through the whole thing here?
Oh, I'm completely staying on top of it. So my only
and what about Brian? Is he going to be behind?
No, although he does have a newborn, so it's
I know, child 3. Tell him congrats.
I will. No, I'm totally staying on top of everything right now. The only thing that's kind of we've had to take a little bit of a second look at is what people don't know is that commercials are done way in advance. So we had a set schedule to do our next commercial for our maybe future product this month.
Maybe.
So
Allegedly.
So that's going to be a little bit of a hiccup that we're going to try and figure out, but we'll make it work, So other than that, everyone's staying on top of their game at Srixon Cleveland.
Srixon Cleveland, XXIO, ASICs, and tires.
Yes.
We want to thank Noelle for coming on. I think we're going to have to do this again because there's just so many questions. But thank you guys all for following along. Stay with us. We have a busy week this week. And anything that you ask from here on out, I will make sure, A, if it's important, I will make sure she can answer it. B, if it's not, I will answer it myself in the forum so you can post there. And we will be in touch soon. Thanks, everybody.
Yes. Thank you.